were 5 waves. The first 2 that were large, and then they got smaller after that. But after the 5th wave, when the water receded, the staff started collecting back around Pongo Plaza, which is where our visitor center had been before the wave wiped it out. And because they were already dressed for the field that day, they had their radios and field equipment on. We also had many of our 24 wildland firefighters start reporting in for duty with their field equipment on. So they had communication, and generally most people had good footwear and things like that. So what we did is started taking assessment of how many we had and trying to track down the rest. We have 128 people on staff in one way or another associated with the park. It was definitely ICS, and we'd all had training in ICS. I've been through a number of wildland fires and searches in the mainland, but nobody on this staff had, other than sitting through the one-day training, actually implemented it before. So basically our ICS was this piece of paper. I mean, we assigned, logistics. We had an IC, we had our medical team, and each group had a designated leader, and that leader was given a handwritten list with the members of their group. We had an additional complication here with a language barrier. And even some of the crew leaders like John and Andrew don't speak a whole lot of English. Joe's group 1, went and searched from the creek over all the way to the road by the cannery in Pongo Park. Went down the opposite direction towards Whangaalu, and they actually encountered, I believe, 4 of the 8 bodies that we found on that trip. And then Andrew's group went up the hill in Pongo. What didn't work was we didn't have any kind of a map. I mean, because the wave took everything away that we had, we didn't even have a map to pull out to document where the people were going. So it was all trying to track in your head like where each group was, and it made sense when we deployed them, basically saying you go north, you go east, you go south, you go west, and then check in every 15 minutes and tell me where you're at. Well, that didn't work after a while because John would say, okay, I'm at the greenhouse, I'm going to the yellow house, and we found this or that. It literally was just what you hear at the time, and trying to scribble notes, but it was coming in too fast and in multiple languages to keep up with it. Our staff generally are forest workers that spend their time up in the national park killing invasive species, trees. They're some pretty tough guys, and they had field equipment, including radios for communication, which was important. So anyway, at 11 o'clock we had a debrief. We reformed into new teams because by that time we had a lot more people. And again, ICS worked really well for that. It scales quite effectively. And we made sure that the radios were deployed. By that time, Anthony had acquired some bags of chips and bottled water, which we distributed. People took a little break, and then we went back out and sort of did debris cleanup and body search in the afternoon till about 4 o'clock when we sent people home through whatever means. By then they had the road plowed open, and it made that a lot easier.